Welcome to Mana's Seal YouTube channel. The previous video link is on the description box or on the top right card. Volume 12. The Paladin of the Holy Kingdom. However, just this once, Nia was absolutely confident in herself. Every single one of them was going no way. Explaining to everyone at once is troublesome. Send out a representative. A moment later, an orc looked like he was about to rise, but the orc beside him stopped him. However, he still took a step forward. He may have been a skinny orc, but he had clearly possessed a strong body once. May I assume that you are the representative? The orc said nothing and simply nodded. What's wrong? Why do you not speak? Ah, perhaps it is because your majesty ordered them to shut up just now. Well, I felt that I had given my permission. It would seem nobody understood it that way. You, the orc who has stepped forward, I permit you to speak. Begin by stating your name. I am Dial of the Ganzu tribe, Dial Ganzu. Dial, then. Here is my first question. Are there people here you do not know, or whose personalities have changed drastically? No, there's nobody like that. Next, tell me why you were imprisoned here. You know that demon called Geldabia, right? Of course I do. He is my enemy. Rather, you could say I came here, to the Holy Kingdom, in order to kill him. Their faces still said no way, as expected. Indeed, Nia might have thought the same way before she had come to understand the Sorcerer King. However, Nia was different now. Nia looked at the Sorcerer King's profile, and then she spoke. It is as His Majesty says. I am a person of this country. In that case, you should be able to understand, right? Geldabia led an allied army of demihumans to invade the Holy Kingdom. Dial's face changed slightly. Wait, a human, probably, a female. What did they mean by probably? She thought, but to Nia, judging the sex of an orc would be very difficult. It would probably be the same way for them as well. We did not attack this country. Nobody from the orc tribes should have helped Geldabia. Because of that, he brought us, who defied him, along to this place as punishment. And what did Geldabia do after he brought you here? The Sorcerer King's question seemed to give Dial and the other orcs a powerful shock. The orcs who looked like mothers clutched their children tightly. After that, there were sounds of moaning and vomiting. What happened here, seriously? The Sorcerer King could not help but say. Ah, it seems I've asked a question I shouldn't have asked. Shall I bring some water? Or do you want something else? The Sorcerer King's attitude seemed to have changed. For some reason, he seemed very nervous. Perhaps he felt guilty about asking the orcs about a question that had dredged up bad memories. While it might be somewhat rude to think of him that way, the Sorcerer King looked like a parent trying to comfort another child which their own offspring had driven to tears. This is something only a king who counts both humans and demihumans as his subjects would do. To the people of the Holy Kingdom, demihumans were the enemy. Therefore, under identical circumstances, they would not say anything kind or comforting. We do not want anything else. But we beg you not to ask us what happened. You would not enjoy hearing it, and it was a hellish experience for us. If you order us to speak of it, we will do so, but I pray you will do it away from others. Please. After hearing the sobs and weeping of the female orcs, Nia began to feel a little afraid of what had happened to them. How vexing, the Sorcerer King muttered to himself, but so much had happened that Nia did not know what he was referring to. Ah, well. Since you seem to be enemies of Geldabia, why not discuss the matter of joining forces with us, since we have a common foe? Dial shifted his gaze downwards. We had thought of fighting once, but now we no longer think of such things. We have been broken by the fiendish things which happened here. We no longer have the courage to fight. Then if I free you, what will you do? If possible, we would like to return to our villages. If there are still people who are safe there, we would like to take them and run far, far away, until we find a place where Geldabia cannot reach us. The Sorcerer King nodded. Then, come to the domain which I rule. Please allow us to refuse. I am keenly aware of the dangers of upsetting you, but even if we agree here, we will surely flee once we reach a place where we can escape. However, betrayal is the vilest act imaginable. Then, we should refuse here, since what awaits us is a death that will not be so agonizing. What? The Sorcerer King was probably a little baffled by this staunch refusal. However, Nia keenly understood what Dial was thinking. That was because until she had met the Sorcerer King, Nia had felt that the undead were the enemy of all that lived. No, but my domain is not a fearsome place, you see. There's many demihumans who live there, you know. You're lying. It sounds like a lie. We won't be tricked. You're talking about demihuman undead, aren't you? Dial seemed to have gone half mad, but he was just like how she had been in the past. Then, as one who had some experience in these matters, she ought to tell him about the true face of the Sorcerer's Kingdom. His Majesty is telling the truth. He is a great man who, while being undead, also possesses a heart filled with compassion for all living things. He loves children, he rules the Mihumans fairly, and he receives the respect of his subordinates. As proof of that, they have even built enormous statues of him which astound all who see them. Ms. Baraja. Really, that's enough. But, Your Majesty. Please, say no more. Since he had said please, she had no choice but to keep quiet. Human, have you been brainwashed? I have not. I have seen His Majesty's kingdom with my own eyes. The first Demihuman I saw was a Naga. There was a commotion as the Demihumans looked at each other. There were voices asking, what's a Naga? But they were ignored. Also, I saw a rabbit-like Demihuman. I am not a citizen of the Sorcerer's Kingdom. Therefore, my time there was short. Even so, it was enough for me to understand what was going on. The people living there did not have pained and frightened looks on their faces like you do. And of course, none of them were covered in cuts and bruises like you. The Demihumans looked down at their stick-thin bodies. Their muscles had shriveled up, and they were little more than skin and bone. It is a she, as Ms. Barajas says. That said, you will probably not believe me. However, once you become my vassals, I will never allow you to suffer such cruelty again. I can swear that to you upon my name, Ainz, Rulgown. The reason for that is because all that I rule belongs to me. Should it be damaged, it is the same as damaging my property. Therefore, you may be at ease. If you do not wish to accept my rule, I will not force you to do so. Live as you please. In any case, I shall prepare to send you back to your homes. Why are you being so kind to us? This was the first time Dial had cast aside his preconceived notions. Nia could feel him looking at the Sorcerer King himself. Fufu. I wish to defeat Geldabia. Therefore, the Demihumans under him are quite troublesome. Having you go back to your villages is also a way of eroding his power. What do you mean? Unlike Geldabia, I am a merciful king. If you spread the word for me, that will surely cause unrest throughout his forces, and there might even be those who decide to turn code and support us, don't you think? I see, so that's how it is. It was difficult for people to put their faith in benefits offered to them with no strings attached, but a mutually beneficial transaction was more trustworthy. It would seem the same logic applied to Demihumans. However, don't you think that'll be difficult? Many of Geldabia's vassals are bloodthirsty maniacs. Even if we spread the word in our villages, it would not have much effect. That's fine too. I intend to use everything I can use. And if Geldabia carries out a reign of terror, there might be Demihumans who will betray him too. Speaking of which, will you not help me fight Geldabia? We can't. We've told you before, right? We don't have the will for that now. Huh. What a shame. And you still do not wish to come to the Sorcerer's Kingdom. Indeed, it would be a good thing to live under the protection of a mighty being like yourself. However, this is not a decision we can make by ourselves. Depending on the result of our discussion with the others, we might end up relying on you. Dial. Dombus. I know what you want to say. However, with the appearance of Geldabia, a fiend against whom we are helpless, we cannot protect our villages by ourselves. Sooner or later, this will be our fate. The orc called Dombus bit his lip and looked down. He understood that point as well. Is that so? Then, if you come to my country, then I, the Sorcerer King, will offer you my full support. Many species live upon my land. At that time, I hope you will work together with them, live with them as people of my country. The Sorcerer King's tone softened. The Mihumans were viewed as the enemy in the Holy Kingdom, yet in the Sorcerer's Kingdom, they were seen as beings with whom one could coexist. From where did this enormous difference spring? As Nia thought about it, she immediately found the answer. It's because of His Majesty, huh? Because His Majesty possesses such incredible power. As I thought, power is what's important. Now then, after this, I will provide the rations you will need until you return to your villages. In addition, I will supply soldiers to defend you. Returning home safely with those bodies of yours will require much time and effort. You would go this far for us? Of course I would. Do weep and wail at great length about the generosity and magnanimity of the Sorcerer's Kingdom, and spread my name. After this, Ms. Baraja, could I trouble you to leave the room? I am about to use a national secret of the Sorcerer's Kingdom which I do not wish to allow anyone from another country to see. Understood. Nia stepped out of the room after answering, and she felt a little lonely. The Sorcerer King's words made perfect sense, and while she could understand them, she could not accept them. As she stood outside the broken door, the breathing sounds of orcs from within the room began to dwindle. It was as though they were vanishing from the room, and in truth, that was probably the case. The Sorcerer King had once said that as long as he remembered a location, he could teleport to it. He must have used such a spell on them. Soon, the room was silent. A moment later, the sound of footsteps approached Nia. As her mind registered that fact, she saw that the only person on the other side of the door was the Sorcerer King. Forgive the long wait. No, it was not long at all. The room was empty. He must have used magic potent beyond the ability of Nia to imagine to teleport all the orcs away. Or perhaps he had used some other means, he had teleported them with an item. Then, let's meet with Captain Custodio and hear about our future plans from her. Yes. Your servant understands. After exiting the orc internment camp, the two of them asked a paladin they met along the way about Remedio's location. There was no sign of her at the building they were directed to, but Gustavo was there. Oh, Your Majesty. We were just about to invite you over. Gustavo seemed completely different from when they had met him earlier. He was lively, as though the light of hope was spilling out from him, and his voice had perked up too. Had something appeared which had changed the currently dire situation? Perhaps the Sorcerer King had the same question in his heart, and so he asked. What happened? Did you receive some good news? Yes. There's a very important person you must see. Come, this way. If they wanted to show him somebody, he must be a powerful noble, or someone related to the royal family.